gentlemen, and defeat it. We'll get your take on what I just said when we come back, Rick Ross, and go right to your phone calls and your Twitter questions. I'll stop hogging him right now. His website is I Am The Real.
We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
On the eve of Thanksgiving this year, I was thinking, what am I really thankful for? And I got to tell you, it's my family. It's all the blessings of liberty that our forebears secured. And it's you, the listeners of the broadcast, who've made everything we do possible. This Black Friday, I decided to bring you the biggest special we've ever offered on any of the nutraceuticals at InfoWarsLife.com. I'm talking about Silver Bullet Colloidal Silver that we've been sold out of for months. This time I doubled down and got even more. As of me taping this, on the eve of Thanksgiving, we have already sold half of it. So instead of keeping the price at its regular discounted price, we are going to give you 20% off and free shipping on single bottles. But if you get 4 bottles, we're going to give you the 5th one free and the free shipping. I don't know how long this special will run, but if supplies last, we will extend it out until Cyber Monday. You'll find powerful nutraceuticals like Silver Bullet and others at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. Again, this is Alex Jones wishing you all a blessed and happy Thanksgiving and thanking you all for your support of freedom.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put 2 and 2 together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds, is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled INFIDEL bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
The average person's life is filled with unexpected challenges. Unlock the energy it takes to defeat these daily beasts with Super Male or Super Female Vitality, specifically designed to assist the body in regulating proper hormone balance to create superior vitality in males and females. Supercharge and conquer your world at InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139.
Aging starts at the cellular level. When cells become toxic, they die early and aging sets in. In the past decade, we have witnessed unparalleled scientific discoveries. During that period, key patented compounds have focused on mitochondrial growth, nerve growth, and rejuvenation. But no one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. We now have the synergistic solution, DNA Force, just one of the key compounds. BioPQQ is backed by major clinical studies and over 175 PubMed-listed published studies. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? The ultimate value, cutting-edge, trailblazing game changer that also supports the InfoWar. Secure your DNA Force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. DNA Force from InfoWars Life.
Live from Austin, Texas, broadcasting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
Rick Ross is our guest. We're going to go to your phone calls here in just a moment. There was one other point we got talking about fluoride in the water. What was the other point you wanted to make, you were saying?
I lost my thought, man.
We're having the real discussions here during the breaks. I've thought so many times just for the TV audience, I ought to have a button I can hit whenever I'm not eating or making a phone call where we can put live cams in here during the breaks.
Yeah,
because that's where the really good discussions are happening.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good. But, you know, we done touched on so many good points, man, and I'm just excited, you know, that you had me here and that we touching on some of these points. You know, one of them, too, you know, Obama, he wrote in the 18-to-1 crack law, you know, where it was 100-to-1 for crack and powder, where it already been proven that powder and crack are identical drugs, except one is smokable and one is not smokable. So about a year ago, they changed it 18-to-1, but they should have made it 18-to-1, and then they should have made it retroactive. You know, say if a guy's been in jail 25 or 30 years, but if it was 18-to-1, he would only got 5 years in prison. So they would owe him some time. He would be released.
Well, I totally agree. If you're non-violent, you should be released, period. Because the government shipped it in to begin with. It'd be like if your judge was the guy that sold you the cocaine, and then now he's presiding over sending you to jail for life. That's what it is. It'd be like if Hitler ran the Nuremberg trials. I mean, it's pure bull. I mean, end it.
It is. And then they own the prisons.
I remember, I've talked to 2 major rock stars, and it's not the 2 that you've heard on the show. I've talked to 2 major rock stars, and then I've talked to some hip-hop folks. They all say that they've heard the same stories, and some of the memos have come out about the CIA behind rock and roll to create the revolutions, you know, behind bringing the LSD in. That's been declassified. But in the early 90s, they said, look, rock's going to be dead. Get ready. We're going to bring in hip-hop, and we're going to gangsterize it. This is from the guys upstairs. The government wants this. Sumner Redstone at Viacom has been ordered to do this. And big managers and people were all brought in, and they said, you better start flipping to this. That's why you saw a lot of heavy metal guys start doing rap albums and, you know, getting other folks in with them and things, because they were told, we're going to play these on the record. And we're going to put this on the air. And then I talked about my personal self. I experimented here and there once or twice with hard drugs. Always had such horrible hangovers that I, methamphetamine a couple times, cocaine a few times. I'm on record about that. I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
I've always been a nicotine alcohol type guy, and that I've transcended pretty much as well. Don't even smoke cigars anymore because I always get back on cigarettes when I do. But long story short, Sheriff McWhorter, who later got busted, he was flying drugs into the Rockwall Airport. We lived in the richest county in Texas, right outside Dallas, Rockwall on the Lake. And I would be at affluent people's houses for a party when their parents are out of town. The cheerleader down the street's having a party. All the 14-year-olds are over there. And then there'd be the 16-year-olds and 18-year-olds that come over, wild parties, pool parties. And the police car would pull up. And then they'd come in and go, we got the weed, we got the ecstasy, we got the methamphetamine, we got the... And I'd be like, whoa, whoa. And because they had money. And so many times the cops in cars would deliver the drugs. So I'd get pulled over a couple years later when I was driving. This is why we had to move to Austin. I've told this has been in Esquire. It's been in Texas Monthly. They didn't believe a lot of it. Went and checked and went, wow, there were a bunch of busts in the Rockwall PD and the county and flying in cocaine.
I remember that. I remember that. It was in the newspapers, and I read it.
So they were flooding it with drugs, and they would want to search my car, and I'd go, man, I saw you 2 years ago deliver drugs. And they would beat me up, take me to jail, threaten to hang me, told my dad's lawyer, move out or we're going to kill him, basically.
Yeah. And
a couple years, we moved out, and then later the feds came in and busted him. But again, that's the big drug dealer busting the little drug dealer.
Yeah, well, that's why they don't like you, Alex, because you're gonna keep it 100. You're going to let them know exactly what's going on.
Well, I wasn't saying anything about the cops stealing drugs till they wanted to search me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you're a drug dealer. Leave my 6-pack of beer alone. Oh, look, like under the truck seat, those Silverados had the seat that lifted up in the middle.
Yeah.
And there was the 6-pack. We weren't even drinking and driving. We were going to a party. And they're like, all right, I got you. Minor in possession. I was just like, you're a drug dealer. And they
almost like the fox watching the hen house, huh?
Well, yeah, it's like, you're a drug dealer? You're going to give me a ticket? Take my beer? Those cops would just go, ugh! They arrested me 3 times doing that.
Wow.
They would beat me up that bad. They'd slam my head in the wall, and they'd take me there and go, listen.
They didn't beat you with a flashlight?
No, you've been beat up before.
I've been beat with a flashlight while I was handcuffed, and let the dog bite me while I was handcuffed. I mean, these guys are wow with these, what do you call them, cowboys? Yeah. These drug enforcement agents, they're just out there, man.
Most of them are dealers.
Yeah, running rampant and ripping off the public because they're not solving the problem.
Well, now they're so arrogant, even the New York Times reports on it, they're taking people's cash out of their wallets that have no criminal record, no drugs. They just go, oh, $2 grand in your wallet? Bam, I'm taking it.
Well, Gary stopped that, too. You remember they used to have a forfeiture. Remember the forfeiture law?
He got it kicked out of the states, yeah.
He made them change their forfeiture laws. Before they could pull you over and say they found a joint in your car, and they could take your car and forfeit it. When you go to court and the court throw your case out and you never go to jail or never found guilty.
He did get it reformed, but now they came back where the feds federalized it, and they do it now through the police. But Gary did do so much. Let's go to these calls here. Folks, get his book. It's available right now at InfoWarsStore.com, or you can go to FreewayRick.com or IamTheRealRickRoss.com and get the book, Rick Ross, The Untold Autobiography, and give it to the young people in your life, especially any that are getting on drugs. Donnie McClure asked the question on Twitter, can you elaborate on the rapper Rick Ross and how he stole your image? I think you already answered that. And do you like his music? Do you like his music?
I do. I do. You can't help it. I mean, they have a formula that they're doing with this music. And you know, our heart beats off of a rhythm. So
they manipulate us, yeah.
Absolutely. So, and then you hear the music, if you turn on the radio, and I don't really listen to the radio and I like it, you know, because you can't help but hear this music everywhere you go. You know, you're on the elevator, you hear it. You're in the supermarket, you ride down the street and somebody else is playing in the car.
Well, that's what makes me mad is my kids can't help but like it.
Absolutely.
And if the message was good, it'd be great, but it's weaponized. The message is bad.
Yeah, it's not motivation, uplifting, you know, telling that you can be somebody special and that you are special no matter what situation.
No, it's like you got to be a gangster, slinging the rock, the hose, the, you know.
You got it.
Yeah. Rick Ross, did you do any business with the CIA? Well, that's a silly question.
Not knowingly.
Yeah, they had an intermediary between you and them.
Yeah. Danilo Blandon, the CIA operative, is what they call it. He's not an agent, but he's an operative.
It's a membrane. Do you know Henry Hill was or ever met Henry Hill? And if so, how much of a piece of bleep was he? I don't know who that is.
No, me either. Never heard of it.
All right. We've got more Twitter questions coming in. We're going to go to calls. MKT says, what was your first major purchase after making all your drug money?
My first major purchase, I bought a piece of property that I built a motel on.
That's smart. Adam Russell asked on iChats, Rick, do you think the government was involved in creating the fake rapper's persona to basically troll you? I mean, sure, I don't think Rick Ross came up with that.
I don't know if they did it to, I don't know what troll me mean, but what I know that happened is they gave him authenticity, you know, where it was.
They said it was authentic.
Yeah, where in my community, I'm a legend. You know, people's mothers and fathers had talked about me, so it had already been ingrained in people that Rick Ross was something. And so when the name came out, people automatically liked that name because they looked at me as almost like a Robin Hood.
Well, Rick Ross rolls off the tongue. It sounds cool.
Yeah, so when they did him, he already had love for the community. The community already had love for him. I don't know if you know who Freddie Fox is, but Freddie Fox told me one time, he was like, man, when I heard that Rick Ross was performing in New York, I went to the show. And when I got to the show, I see this guy, and I was like, that ain't none of my man. You know, so they already had a love for Rick Ross. And what he did is he got that love that the streets had for me, you know, because I was a gangster. I was out there in the streets, and that's what they wanted. And he fitted that role. So,
what are some of the things that motivate you today? KDEE asked.
Well, redemption, you know, to redeem myself, to show young people that no matter where you're at today, that you can always improve yourself and become a better person.
How do you pronounce that caller's name? Vladislav? Vladislav? Then we're going to go to Vladislav here in just a moment. In fact, let's go to Vladislav now in Washington. You're on the air with the real Rick Ross.
Hello, Rick. My name is Vladislav here in Battleground, Washington. My question is very basic to you. Basically, what motivated you to deal the drugs with the CIA? And afterwards, what changed your mind?
But has anybody been listening? He didn't know he was dealing drugs for the CIA until it came out in court because the operative that his was a supplier from the Air Force Base hadn't told him that. So I don't mean to answer his question for you, but I mean, what motivated you to deal drugs? I think you said that. Money, right?
Poverty, money. Yeah, I was tired of my mom struggling and not having food in the refrigerator. You know, there's been days that me and my brothers and sisters woke up and there was nothing in there to eat.
I've got a question to ask you. Thank you, caller. I appreciate you. I'm not trying to be mean. He just answered that. What does your mother think, kind of like that Scarface story, what does your mother think when suddenly you had all this money?
Well, you know, my mom put me out of the house when she first found out I was dealing drugs. You know, my mom was a diehard Christian. And, you know, first thing came to her mind, oh, you're going to hell forever. So she threw me out the house. But when she did, I was already ghetto rich. I had $100,000. So everybody in the neighborhood wanted me to come to their house and stay. But eventually, she started to succumb to the money. You know, I bought pulpits for the church and